Welcome back, baseball fans, to the carryover league, and today we are eliminating the Minnesota Twins. Marathon game 4, longest and tiring game ever played in this series. Twins gutted it out, took us back to Minnesota for a game 5, a matchup of the aces, Danny Darwin, Jim Perry. Odds suggest Perry's the better starter. Odds suggest Twins are a better team. Merv Retman leads off the game with a double. Ground ball moves him to third. Mickey Rivers hits a sacrifice fly. That's your ball game. 1-0. Twins struggled throughout. In the 9th inning, they led off with Rod Carew, who was the tie run. Now, Rod Carew is a D stealer in this particular year, so he was just sitting there at first base. Speedy Carew, not able to steal. Reese flies out. Harmon Killebrew, who had a really ordinary season, strikes out. Urbic, base hit. 2 on. Chance to win the game. Tony Oliva flies to left. The vaunted Ranger bullpen, they sat in the chairs and watched because they had blown so many games. This great bullpen, they left it in the hands of Danny Darwin. Danny Darwin, 9-inning complete game shutout. CGSO, 5 hits, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. Jim Perry, after that run in the first, he would only give up 2 more hits and a walk. The Rangers, 4 batters over the minimum. An incredible pitching performance by both guys in a deciding game 5. And it's really the Twins. You don't expect the Rangers to get pitching, and it was the Twin offense that we saw this. I think we saw this with Atlanta. These great offenses, they just get shut out at the worst possible times. And that's the end of the Twins season. Here are the statistics. They've finished 23-18. Let's go to pitching first. So Williams and Pernowski at the end of the bullpen each had 3 saves, modest totals. Their ERAs, 3.43 and 4.15. There's nothing really spectacular there. Jim Perry, he was the early Cy Young candidate. I think he started 6-0. Finishes 8-4 with a halfway decent 3.55 ERA. But nothing really stands out in the pitching. The offense, the 2 All-Stars, Carew, 3.49, 6-28. Tovar, he's 3.13, 6.22, and 16 stolen bases. Gladden had 14 stolen bases with his 3.37 batting average. Most everybody else also performs well. They hit 290 as a team, but you need to go to the bottom of batting average. The last 12th name there you see is Harmon Killebrew. The power stats are 9 homers and 23 RBIs, but it's 152 at bats. He's got 29 walks. He hit 204. The on base is only 331. It's not even above 360. For a guy who walked 145 times during the season. It was an off year for Killebrew, and as much as the Twins hit 290 as a team, I have to think if Killebrew tears it up the way Frank Howard tears it up, well then, I think the Twins would still be around and the Rangers would not. But it's time now to eliminate the Minnesota Twins, and to do that, we will take a look and see who goes away. Frank Big Game Viola, his final start wasn't a good one. Same with Jack Morris. Jim Cott's coming back and he did okay in his final start. Mike Stanton wasn't really needed in the bullpen. Haydel, he was the winner of that marathon game we saw. Peronowski and Williams, you gotta be more lights out next year is what the Twins want. Slam that door. Oliva, Tovar. This Bando card could be tough to replace. That's a darn good card right there. Carnac and Field. It's good defense. Dave Anderson, just a journeyman. Kirby Puckett. This was his rookie year. Kirby Puckett. Before he hit for power. Kirby Puckett in his rookie year did not hit a home run. But he was a 1E4 in center field in his rookie year with a -2 arm. So even then we knew he was going to be special. Mitterwald. There's the Gladden card. That's to go. Carew, Reese, Killebrew. And lastly, the last guy to leave. Turn the lights out after you leave. Ken Urbick. Great card, great career. Came up big in the Game 4. And he got a hit in the 9th inning of Game 5, but he was stranded on the bases. That's how his career will end. Let's see if any of these guys are old enough to be around the 1972. Obviously not Urbick or Gladden or Puckett. Or I don't think Dave Anderson or Bando. There's been a few guys named Mike Stanton in baseball. I don't think he was. Morris, no, and Viola, no. So these are all younger players. So all 8 will be retired. Let's say the Twins bring back next year. It's still going to be a good year because the Twins won the American League West in 1969 and 1970, and those teams and players are still in play. So I don't expect the Twins to really fall off. They should be just as good next year. So they're going to bring back a ton of offense. Mitterwald to catch. Now you can put Rich Reese, who was playing out of position this year. He was playing left field because we had Urbick. His natural position is first base. So now you have Mitterwald, Reese, and then you have, of course, Carew at second. And if you want to put, well, Tovar was playing third, right? Yeah, third, Cardenet at short. Oliva's in the outfield, and you have 2 outfield spots open. You could, and you probably should think about, I know his defense is terrible, but it'd be nice to put Killebrew in at third. And then Tovar, he can play all over the place, but he's a 3 in the infield, but he's a 2 in the outfield. So I'd rather have Tovar be in your outfield. A 2 -1 E7 in center field, that's pretty good. So let's say they do it this way. Mitterwald, Reese, Carew, Killebrew at third, and they can get a defensive replacement, move Killebrew to DH. Cardenet short, and 2 outfielders. So your team is set. You got good lefty sticks who can hit lefties. Reese, Carew, great offense. They'll be back next year. They'll be great. Now let's look at the pitching. Again, there's not much to quibble over here. You bring back 5. It was 7 hitters, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 7 hitters. 7 good hitters with no holes. And you bring back 5 pitchers. You bring back the vaunted back of the bullpen. Cott now moves into the 2 hole where Viola was. As I said before, I'm not crazy about Cott, but he might be good enough. 14, 13, 350 to get the job done in the 2 hole. And again, you have 2 lefties, so you don't have to find 1 lefty. This is an easy team to fix. Not much work to do in the draft. You should be able to find some good players from this era. So let's see who the Twins can get. Okay, here we are with the 1972 Twins. Now, there is a sense of urgency for them to get the most competitive championship team together in the first 2 years, because in 71, 72, we know that the Oakland A's are getting that dynasty together. And it's up to the 69 and 70 Twins to, get as much. That's going to be their best chance to, and after that it's going to be a struggle. So here's the 72 Twins. I'm not worried about Carew. He'll always be great in Strat, pretty much. Blyleven is on Portland, and I'm not sure they're going to let him go yet. Now they might. They very well could. Burt Blyleven is the property of the Portland team. And then as an expansion team, they could simply make a trade. We know how the Twins have a lot of talent. And getting Blyleven with Jim Perry and moving Cotton to the 3 hole would be pretty valuable. So Blyleven actually may return to the Twins under that scenario. There's Tovar and Killebrew. Bobby Darwin. We have an outfield spot open by Gladden. And Darwin played center field and hit 22 home runs, so that's a good option there. Danny Thompson. This was early in his career, the tragic Danny Thompson. He could get in the middle infield where Cardenet is. Braun is elsewhere in the league. There's Jim Cott. Corbin in the bullpen. Woodson. Let's see if we need their pitching prowess here. Look at Jim Cott. Man, maybe they should just swap Jim Cott out for this particular year, because this year Cott, he's got a 2.06 ERA and a $1 WHIP. And like I said, I've seen so many Jim Cott cards that have been mediocre. It'd be worth doing it. Now, if you have an existing card and you swap it out with another one, it costs essentially a transaction, meaning that you have an empty roster spot. That's to kind of make it competitive for all the teams. And in the empty roster spot, you got to wait till everybody else fills up their roster. So you have a really improved Jim Cott, but you might have a scrub as the 20th, 19th or 20th man in your roster. That's something that's how you balance that out. Look at that. Dave LaRoche pitched for Minnesota. I didn't know that. Let's go back to 71. There's Blyleven again. And there's Cott, Tovar, Oliva, Cardenet, Killebrew, Carew. Tom Hall is elsewhere. Jim Perry, Mitterwald, Jim Nettles, Jim Holt. Nah, he's not quite good enough. Nor is Nettles. Pitching. This wasn't a good year for the Twins. I'm not really seeing anything special here. So now let's go back to the 2 years we know the Twins were good. 1970 Minnesota Twins won 98 games in the American League West, but they couldn't get past the Orioles in the LCS. There's Oliva and Killebrew and Perry, the usual suspects here. Hall, Tovar, Cardenet, Stan Williams, Mitterwald, Carew, there's Blyleven, Peranowski, Louis Tiant. My, he pitched for a lot of teams. In a previous video, we were talking about Cleveland trading Tiant to the Red Sox. So now you have the Twins. Tiant's okay here for the Twins. It's not really worth getting involved with him. As good as these Twins are, these are the Twins we already have in most cases, and there's no other Twins we're not aware of that we can get that I see. Look at this, Brant Alea. He's the guy on the Colorado Rockies who's their best player and an all-star. It's a shame the Twins don't get to have him. And then let's go back to 69. This is the last grab for the ring here. Perry, Killebrew, Carew, Cardenet, Oliva, Tovar, Peranowski. Dave Boswell is elsewhere in baseball. He's on the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's a shame. Rich Reese, and there's Cott. Bob Miller is elsewhere. He's on the Padres in this. So from this team, Ted Ulander is a center fielder, but he is elsewhere. He's on Seattle. What happens is these great teams, their rosters get rated. They know where all the talent is, and other teams, once the Twins pick the players they're going to use, then the rest of the roster gets picked up by the expansion teams. That's the problem when you have during this era there was only 26 baseball teams, and I'm trying to make 32 baseball teams out of that. So that's why in a carryover league you're spreading the talent out a little bit longer. Hopefully, and let's see here. Well, I'm not really seeing it either. I would say from what we know our needs are, I predict that it'll be Burt Blyleven, getting Burt Blyleven to the Twins, and then let him run through the 70s, which is what he did. Let's take a side view of Blyleven for a second. He's such a great pitcher. So Blyleven's twin run, look at that. He was 19 years old in 1970. He ended up on the Rangers in 76. So really, it was what, 6 years here. This is why this is sort of a microcosm as to why Burt Blyleven would be a great candidate for an expansion team like Portland, because he really bounced around baseball. Not because he was bad; he was great everywhere. He was good in Minnesota. He was good in Texas. He won a World Series ring with the Pirates. Cleveland, he was good. California, he was really good in '89 for California. His whip was a $1.11. He was fourth in Cy Young votes at age 38. I mean, I think one of these years with the Twins, he gave up like 50 home runs. There it is. 1986 Twins. To his credit, and during that era where it wasn't like the steroid era, he gave up 50 home runs, but still his ERA was 4.01. That's pretty good. That means he gave a lot of solo home runs. And does he have postseason pitching? Sure. 79 postseason, got a ring with the Pirates. 87 postseason, gets a ring with the Twins. So it's time to bring him back home. Bring him back to Minnesota and see if we can get him a Minnesota World Series ring. And that's it tonight for the story of the Minnesota Twins. Thank you for checking out these elimination videos as well as the Strat-O-Matic games. I appreciate the feedback, and we'll check in again next time.